gardening and doing a native garden, these kind of projects, we're happy to take those on. So we want to engage with people based on their interests. So if you want to help out Johnson Creek and you have a passion, just come to us and we can find a role for you.
Well, I noticed on your home page there was someone that had a passion, because you had 3 really well done videos, one on bees, one on birds, and I forget what the third one was on. I might have wrote it down here somewhere. Conservation Registry. Is that something you would talk about? Or is that something we already covered under a different name?
The Conservation Registry is a place that we've kept records of all of our projects. Our restoration coordinators led the project of researching past restoration projects, and they're all documented there in the Conservation Registry. So if people want to explore the history behind all the work that's been done by all the partners in all of the watershed, the counties, the cities, the other private interests, the nonprofits, it's all documented there. So
in the registry itself, and the video just talks a little bit about
what the Conservation Registry is. Did you want to add anything to that?
I think that captures it well. It's a web-based tool that, like Amy says, it maps the different projects, and then if you click on the site, it will populate provide you with a narrative of what has been done, and important in terms of tracking. I mean, with so many different entities doing good work in the watershed, just a way to track what has been done. With a view toward us planning the remaining work, important work, planning and prioritizing remaining work to be done in terms of restoring the watershed.
You mentioned the other videos. Those are actually done by a landowner right on Johnson Creek. His name's John Hamill, and he's one of many eyes on the creek that we have, sharing photographs and news reports of coho salmon that come upstream, and so we share those resources on our website too.
Yeah, the one on bees and then the one on the birds was, we're down to about 10 minutes, so probably shouldn't go into one of those videos, but they are on the website if folks want to do that. The bees was just a bunch of beautiful video of bees with different kinds, I guess. I had no idea there was that many different kinds around here.
And they were taken in one yard, in one 1 acre yard. He's seen over 50 species of birds, how many different bees. It's full of wildlife there.
And that's what biodiversity is all about. And if things like that river, are destroyed or at least seriously injured, one of the first things that happens is the diversity goes away. And working to bring that back in is obviously, it's been 2 years, and some of these projects are still going on. It's not something that's ever going to end, right? I mean, like you were saying a little while ago, that some of these projects are just starting, some are ongoing, and there's always maintenance.
Well, we'll be done in about 5 years, and we'll retire. Our work will be done. It will be. It will. Yes. It will be a work in progress.
That's why you need the volunteers.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So how many volunteers do you have at the moment?
Well, we see about 1,200 people on a yearly basis. So we have a lot of people who come more than once, and then we have people who just come for that one volunteer event with their family. And we might see them again next year. So we have a good loyal base of repeat customers and also people who come out for their very first time. So our volunteer program is doing well. People do care for Johnson Creek and have shown that through their acts of service.
And I imagine sometimes they'll bring the whole family.
Yeah. Oh, sure. A lot of the restoration events are family friendly, so you can bring small kids and teenagers there. If you can get them there. Yeah.
If you can get them away from their Game Boy or whatever things are. Yeah, because some of these, they got restoration volunteer internship, Johnson Creek Park Steward. What is that?
The Johnson Creek Steward program is in partnership with Portland Parks and Rec. It's a way for us to engage volunteers on a one-on-one basis. They can go out into the wilderness and work independently.
Wilderness?
Portland Park properties throughout Johnson Creek Watershed, natural areas that aren't necessarily places to go have a picnic, but they're public lands meant prioritizing wildlife habitat. So these volunteers, these park stewards, will go into these areas by themselves with training and do restoration of a different kind. You know, these are areas that are sensitive to large groups, so it's appropriate for people to go in with delicate foot and pick out resprouts of ivy and blackberry that might be coming in there. The maintenance piece that we talked about earlier.
Well, there'll always be new sprouts with ivy, especially.
So they're sort of the front line of keeping away invaders of healthy sites that we have.
Well, if you catch them when they're just like a sprig, you know, of ivy or briar, you know, which they're always going to be popping up. Anything from a seed or a nut are always going to be spread around by birds, even when you dig them up. So that type of surveillance is, I would think, very important to keep it from getting, you know, far down the road.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In its major effort.
It's a big priority for Portland Parks is maintaining the healthy sites that they have and keeping the invasives out.
And there's always office assistant, but who wants to do that? When you got all these wonderful things outside. And of course the Johnson Creek Days Committee. What's this golf tournament? I was kind of surprised to see
we
that.
host a golf tournament every year at Persimmon Country Club, which is in the watershed. So, you know, a big goal of ours is to engage with audiences of all kinds. And we have 2 golf courses in the watershed.
Is that near Crystal Springs Rhododendron Garden by any chance?
That's Eastmoreland Golf Course.
Ah, okay.
So we have a private country club up in Gresham as well. So they have huge audiences coming through there, and we want to find ways of engaging with those people and also raising funds. It's been our best fundraiser thus far, and we see new sponsors every year, and we're engaging with new people each year who come out to golf.
Well, that's what being creative is all about, is finding new ways to interface with people, because you do the same, what is that, you keep doing the same thing, you get the same results. You got to have new different ways of doing that.
Yeah, I think our staff and volunteers and board, one of the things I'm really proud of is just the innovation, just not being afraid to try new things. We've tried some things that didn't work as well, and we've tried some things. I mean, I think just some risk taking in terms of our events, not sticking with the tried and true. I think that's been really great. I mean, that's kind of a cultural thing, and the Watershed Council community, I think, is great. So I'm really happy about that.
And then the next one, you mentioned that you think that there are salmon up there, but salmon surveyor.
We know there's salmon up there.
Right, so there are trainings enabled to says trainings will launch in October this year, and with a partner you'll navigate your way upstream with your eyes peeled for coho. And does that navigate mean in a boat?
No, it's not deep enough for a boat.
Didn't think so in October.
You're walking the stream in waders. It is challenging. You know, you need to have full mobility and strength to walk the stream. You're walking. Is it upstream? I'm trying to remember.
You're walking upstream.
You're walking upstream, and you're walking a significant distance. So
in water, I mean, I did it last year, and it was water up to my waist and sometimes up to my lower chest. So it's not in some places shallow. I mean, it's a significant undertaking.
Rainfall.
Yeah, and slippery rock. So I mean, it's like Amy said, it's something that you want full mobility. You need full mobility to do. But it's very, very popular, and it's really rewarding. It's just there's no way to experience a creek like getting in it and actually walking it, or I mean, in some cases rafting it. But Johnson Creek, not many people raft in Johnson Creek.
That's true. So you're looking for. Would this be salmon going back upstream, or you're looking for the little fingerlings that are?
You're looking for spawners, so adult. So you'd be looking for the adult fish.
In order to have the adults go up, you must have had the ones that hatch out, and then because they live a year or so in the stream and then go out to the ocean for 2 years and then come back.
And so we, I shouldn't say we, but there have been surveys done of juvenile fish in the watershed, and so looking at the fry and the little guys.
Are these wild or planted? Or hatchery, I should say.
They're not hatchery. They are wild. I mean, so Johnson Creek probably The salmon in Johnson Creek probably have returned. They were from the Clackamas stock, is my understanding, and I'm not sure about this, but that they, because probably the runs of Johnson Creek were extirpated, they were eliminated, and so that they've recolonized the Clackamas fish, and now these are descendants of the fish that took a wrong turn and didn't go up the Clackamas, but turned a little too early and went up Johnson Creek instead. So the offspring of those.
Well,
of
they're
those
really
fish.
needed up there. You know, now that we're down almost at the end of the show, I realize that we've had this what is a watershed right there. You folks have that written down. We've talked about watersheds the whole night. Has anybody got a definition?
I can
of
give
it?
a very quick definition of watershed is the area of land that drains into a specific body of water. So in this case, as Amy said earlier, it's Johnson Creek watershed is 54 square miles, or historically it was. A little more complicated because there are some areas of Johnson Creek actually now that like the water goes into dry wells or into underground systems that then drain into the Willamette. But historically that either as overland flow or groundwater that then would gradually flow underground and enter the creek.
Sure.
But all that area of land that ultimately ends up in Johnson Creek.
And then watersheds within watersheds, because Johnson Creek watershed is part of the
Willamette
River
watershed,
Right.
and that's part of the Columbia. And, yeah.
So
Right.
I think it's important to mention people's roofs, the streets. Not only your green parks are all part of the watershed. So
We'll see, we're down to a little over a minute. You might want to just kind of remind folks of some of these events coming up and when they are.
Johnson Creek Days, September 20th through 22nd. We've got running, science talk, family-friendly event called the Children's Discovery Carnival, and the Edible Weed Walk. All the details can be found at our website, jcwc.org, or call our office, 503-652-7477.
And they can get all this information. We know you want to get this information, so you can get it all off the website. Like she said, it's www.jcwc.org.
All right.
You
All
forget that stands for Johnson Creek Watershed
Watershed
Council.
Council. All right. Well, that's just about it for tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for tuning in. And thank you very much for coming on the
That's
program.
great. Thank you.
I hope to do this every year. I learn a lot about what's in my backyard and how I need to pay more attention to it. And I think we could all learn a lesson from that. This isn't the only watershed in Portland. There are others as well. But this is something we need to keep on top of. Thanks for tuning in. I want to thank the crew as well. And we'll see you next month, second Wednesday of the month.